Hi, I'm Megan Price, and welcome to the NBA Carousel, a Sideline Sports Network production, proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download in Apple and Google Play stores. Also sponsored by Manscaped, and check out the Inscriber online magazine, where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. Let's go ahead and jump right into the show. We have our first rep, Steve Shawanda, covering the Golden State Warriors. Who got the All-Star Game MVP? Steph Curry. What's up, Steve? How are you doing?
Yes, we're very excited. Megan, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
It's great to see you. Great to see you. And yeah, I wanted to come on first just for today, just to get this over with quickly. Obviously, it's the All-Star Game. It's obviously not that important in the scheme of things. But really, the Warriors needed it. I mean, Steph has been struggling. I mean, they've lost 4 of their last 5. So hopefully this will kind of get him out of his slump a little bit. Obviously, he's not going to shoot 27 threes in every game, though.
Right.
Some of those threes he actually did shoot in normal games anyway, because that's just he has the ultimate green light. But obviously, 50 points, 16 threes. But really quickly, and I'm not going to touch on it because I let everybody, touch on their own people. But I would be remiss if I didn't shout out to Joel Embiid. I mean, the fact that they needed 50 points from Steph Curry when a team that had Steph, Giannis, Joker, and LeBron on it, and it was a 3-point game, so
Right, yeah.
props to Embiid. That's just awesome. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about, Steph played 30 in an All-Star game. And actually,
Right.
as LeBron, him and LeBron both played 36 minutes. So clearly they wanted to win. They were back in Cleveland. I mean, everybody knows
Right.
that, LeBron was born in, Akron Hospital. Steph Curry was born in that same hospital 3 years later. Not a lot of people know that.
Right.
Because obviously he gets booed every time he goes there because of, being the Cavs 3 times in the finals. But so it was a really important, game for him. So it was great to see. The All-Star game was like it usually is. For 3 quarters, they screw around. And then the fourth quarter, they get serious. If you look at the points by quarter, it was 47-45, 46-49, 45-45, 25-21. I mean, talk about a difference in all right, we're going to play now. But
Right, yeah.
obviously just an amazing performance by Steph Curry. Obviously, we're excited about that. But this is a huge week for them coming up. Obviously, we'll talk about, Suns reps and all that stuff. But obviously, with Chris Paul out here for a while, I mean, they're 6.5 back from the Suns now in second place and only a game and a half up of Memphis for third. So this is a really big week for them. And besides a home game against the Mavs on Sunday on ESPN on national television, they're at Portland on Thursday. Then the following week, you got at Minnesota, at Dallas, out at the Lakers, at Denver. So you got a really big stretch here where the Warriors have to get right. They got to get healthy. Draymond's going to get back healthy. Iguodala's got to get back healthy. Wiseman starting to get a little bit more drills, but they say that he might play a couple G League games first, so he's still at least 2-3 weeks away. So they just got to get healthy. But I wanted everybody else to have their fun, but I just wanted to have my fun first. 16 threes for our man, the myth, the legend, Wardell Stephen Curry. There you go. So pretty excited about that. And, it was good to see, your boy play pretty well in the All-Star game too, Megan. So
Absolutely. He had 17, 5, and 5. So great performance for him in his first All-Star game. And I loved what Draymond had to say.
It really was. It was the Durant bench versus the 4 stars really for Team LeBron.
Absolutely.
It was really Embiid and, the bench really. I mean, Booker, John, LaMelo. I mean, LaMelo had 18 in 20 minutes. So great. Again, I don't want to take everybody's thunder, but it was fun. It was what was supposed to be. Game. It was,
and this is Steph's only All-Star MVP. Is that right?
Yeah, and it was fun.
So...
Really quick, they talked to him at the end of the first quarter on the TBS broadcast, which I was watching because you can't go wrong with Shaq and Chuck and Kenny mocking each other. So I was watching the TBS broadcast, and they were interviewing Steph, and they even asked him, when do you decide if you want to go for the MVP or not? And he said, he's like, hey, when next time I get in here to start the second quarter, jack up a few shots, see how I feel, and go from there. And I guess he felt pretty good because he hit 7 threes in the second, 6 more in the third, and we were off. So, there you go. It was fun. But hey, we'll get rid of that. And then Thursday, we'll get back to business. and hopefully everybody can get healthy and we'll get back at it. And, we'll talk about meaningful things next week, but we just had to have some fun today to start off the carousel.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, thank you so much, and good luck on the little road stretch you guys are going to have.
Thank you.
And just let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes, easiest way, obviously, every Monday night on the NBA Carousel, which is obviously can't miss TV, viewing, YouTubing, Facebooking, wherever, streaming. And then just on Twitter at All Eyes on You, the letter U, Hoops, is the easiest way to find me on Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. We will see you next week.
See you, Megan. Have a great day.
You too. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Will Vogel covering the Utah Jazz. Hey, Will.
Hey, Megan.
How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. So talk to me about what's going on with the Jazz. Start with the games before, or the game before the AllStar break, and then we'll go to the AllStar game.
Yeah, they had 2 games before the AllStar break. They had the Rockets and the Lakers. The Rockets was a win. Mitchell had 30 points. Bogdanovich had 22 points. Gobert had 14 points. Conley had 10 assists. Whiteside had a double-double off the bench. Clarkson had 16 points off the bench. Pascal had 12 points off the bench. Azubuike had 10 points off the bench. Free throws were 86.4%. Field goal percentage was over 50%. And 3-point percentage was a tad bit under 3-point 50% at 45%, and we out-rebounded the Rockets by 20. The Rockets aren't a great team. They're still building, but still a win is a win. Then, on the other hand, we played the Lakers. We lost by, I think, 4 or 5. Mitchell had 37 points. Bogdanovich had 15. Royce O'Neal had 10, but Gobert had 11. Clarkson had 13. Our free throw percentage was 84.2%. Our 3-point percentage was 33.3, which is very, very not great because you got Bogdanovich, who's a 3-point shooter, and you got Mitchell who can drill threes. But LeBron had 33 points, and the problem was Gobert had 11 rebounds, sure, but he had 5 points, and Conley only had 6 points. So that's not good. You need to get those guys in double digits for sure.
Absolutely agree. Well, let's slide over to the All-Star game. I know you had Gobert in there, and Donovan Mitchell was supposed to be there, but what happened?
Yeah, before the game, Donovan Mitchell tweeted out that he was having a upper respiratory illness, but it was non-COVID, so he didn't play. So that's the good thing. He doesn't have COVID. He just has respiratory issues. But Gobert had 6 points, 6 rebounds, nothing huge. But speak of All-Star Weekend, next year in 2023, the All-Star Game is in Utah, and it will be the 30th anniversary since they last held it in Utah.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Let's jump over to the upcoming game that you have this week.
Yes, so we have the Mavericks on Friday night, which will be a good game because it'll be, in my eyes, must-see TV. Mitchell against Luka, which will be a good matchup, but I think we can win that game because we have a few more pieces than them. Like, I know they have Spencer Dinwiddie and Brunson and Dorian Finney-Smith, but we got Gobert, we got Mitchell, of course, we got Clarkson, we got Conley, and I think we'll win that game. And then the next game we play the Suns, and we heard of yesterday that Chris Paul has a thumb fracture and he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. So I have a feeling that game, even though Chris Paul is out, will still be a very interesting back and forth type of game because you got Mitchell, you got Booker, you got Ayton, you got Gobert, you got Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges, you got Bogdanovich, you got these are two, even though, like I said, Chris Paul's out, these are two even teams in my eyes. I think they're neck and neck. I think it'll be the close all the way through and should be a really good game.
Awesome. Well, good luck on your upcoming games this week, and let everyone know where they can find you.
So, guys, I have the privilege of tonight. I will be on the Sports Arena at 10 p.m.
Awesome.
Eastern with Mccain Price. Who am I thinking of?
Wilson.
Eric Wilson and Ray Lynn.
Right. Yeah. Raylan's going to be on tonight.
So
we're really looking forward to having you on.
I'm very looking forward to doing that. So check that out if you guys can. I highly recommend it. You guys can find me on Thursday nights on the Sip Off, hosted by Mccain Price, Jahan Phillips, and Anthony Brown. And then, like I said last week, and I'm going to say it till it comes out, debuting March 6th at 8 p.m., which is a Sunday, on YouTube and Facebook. Jacob Christner, Dom DeRubis, Jay Nelson, and I are hosting the Old School Hoops Show. So look forward to that.
I'm definitely going to be watching. I'm a big fan of sports history, so I will definitely be watching that.
Oh, I've got a list of people I'm on already, and trust me, you're on there.
Well, congratulations on your new show, and we will see you back next week. Well, thank you so much. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Jordan Long covering the Phoenix Suns.
Hey, Megan.
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. What did you think about the All-Star weekend?
Personally, I thought the slam dunk contest needs an adjustment, and I don't know how we're going to do that. I mean, I've seen other dunk contests that have been more exciting. I go back to, I believe it was 2016 with Levine and Aaron Gordon. That was probably the best one. If you're seeing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar leave, you know it's not a good dunk contest. But otherwise, I thought the All-Star Weekend was pretty – I mean, I liked it, and especially liked the 75th anniversary team. That was kind of cool to see all the old players who I grew up watching and some that are still stars today.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the last game before the All-Star break.
That was against the Houston Rockets, as we all know. That's when Chris Paul actually left, and we finally figured out what his injury was. But, you know, looking at that game, I don't know if they were tired of looking at the long weekend, because they were down 89-95 in the fourth quarter. Actually outscored Houston 35-26, earned the victory 124-121. But, you know, Houston had a chance to win that game as Eric Gordon basically missed a three. But if you look at it, Booker, 24 points. Paul, even though they got hurt, 11 points and 6 assists. DeAndre Ayton, 23 points and 9 rebounds. For them, though, you couldn't stop Eric Gordon, who had 20 points. Dennis Schroeder, 23. But really, if you look at it, it was the free throws that were the difference. We made 29. They made 24. There's the difference in a 3-point game.
Absolutely does make a difference. And unfortunately, we saw this is the game where Chris Paul was injured. Is that correct?
That is correct. He was just making a pass, and I couldn't tell what defender was in his way. And basically, they hit arms, and you saw that his thumb got in the way, and now he's out with a broken thumb.
Right. Well, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Now, you never want to have one of your players have a fracture or any serious injury like that. But at least it's looking like he'll be healthy for playoff time. And I can't imagine you guys not falling that far down. Like, it's a really deep team. Now, we saw in last year's playoffs when Chris Paul was hurt, Campaign filled in for starting PG. But Campaign's also been hurt as well. Is that right?
He's been in and out of the lineup. I know he had some sort of a rest injury before the All-Star break. And actually, that's why we basically did a small trade on February 10th to get Aaron Holiday, just for more depth at the point guard position.
Okay. Awesome. Well, so, Campaign is completely capable. Is he Chris Paul? No, but he has excellent games that are comparable to Chris Paul, and definitely a great facilitator. Now, he's not always the most with the points, but neither is Chris Paul sometimes, honestly. So as long as you can get somebody in there to facilitate the points, facilitate the ball to Booker or Ayton, I think you guys will be just fine.
I think so too. But then if you look at it, we've got some, tough teams behind us, like Steve mentioned, Golden State. I mean, we could go on a little bit of a losing streak, but I don't see us getting off out of the top four. Even so, we just want home court. It didn't matter last year. We were the second seed. Didn't matter that
Right.
weren't the first seed. Yes, it's be nice to have home court throughout, but we're a good defense or road team that we can play defense in anyone's building. Of course, Golden State has been a little tough this year, but I'm not worried about us dropping that far back. Could we be a 2 seed? Yeah, but we have a nice little cushion at 6.5 games.
Absolutely do. And so Booker was your only All-Star, is that correct?
Well, Chris Paul played, but it was 2 minutes. And
Oh,
then we found out his injury, and I thought Booker played okay. I mean, it's all for entertainment purposes,
Right.
but he had 20 points and a rebound. Unfortunately, he was on the losing side on Team Durant, but hey, that's how All-Star games go.
It was an incredibly competitive game this year, and I was impressed by that. It always seems like if we have a good dunk contest, the game's not as exciting, and then it's kind of vice versa. So, I mean, at least we had some excitement out of the weekend, and also my player was on Team Durant too, so relatable. Who do you guys play coming up this week?
So Thursday we play Oklahoma City. Of course, they're the second worst team. I'm not really worried about that game, although it's a trap game, and you're coming off the All-Star break. Friday, New
Right.
Orleans, it's the same idea. They're the 12th seed, so they're going to be fighting for their playoff light. So they want to be in that play-in tournament. And then Sunday, like Will had said, that is basically the key game against Utah, just because of how good Utah is. We know what Mike Conley and Bogdanovich bring. Of course, you got Rudy Gobert. I'm very interested to see what's going to go, and I think Will mentioned it, down low between Rudy Gobert and DeAndre Ayton. That's going to be an interesting matchup there and battle down low.
Absolutely. Well, good luck on your games this week, Jordan, and let everybody know where they can find you.
You could find me here on the NBA Carousel, mostly doing the Phoenix Suns, and I switch off with Cool Mccain doing the Denver Nuggets. You can find me at Sports Scoop 1, and you can follow me, or you can find me on my blog that I write Mondays through Fridays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Cool Mccain, who will be covering the Milwaukee Bucks and the Denver Nuggets this week. Hey, Cool, how are you?
What's going on? What's going on?
Okay. There's a little bit of a lag. So talk to me about, let's start. You want to start with the Bucks or you want to start with the Nuggets?
I'm there. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Okay, with the Nuggets. All right.
Okay.
So talk to me about the games they had before the All-Star game.
Nuggets. So the two games we had, including we won a game we needed to win, and we eked out the slightest of victories over Golden State. 1 point victory. I'll take it. Big shot by Monte Moore. So went out on a high note. That's something that Denver definitely needed going into All-Star break to try to get a little momentum.
All righty. And then so for the All-Star game, you guys had Joker in there. And how did you perform?
Yep. So we had 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. So he was 1 rebound, 2 assists short of the fifth. Only took 5 shots, had 10 points, so very efficient. He's one of those guys when he plays in these type of games, he'll just defer and let other guys, pick up the offensive slack and just kind of, so to speak, get in where he fits in. So he did a good job of that in the game. Had he been more aggressive, had he taken more shots, obviously would have been done better. The team with Steph, and he's clicking like he was, you kind of just relax.
Right. Definitely. And who do you guys play this week?
So this week we play the Kings on Thursday. That should be a game we win. We then play the Warriors again. No, excuse me. We then play the Kings again. So we play them back to back, and then we play the Trailblazers on Sunday. So
Okay.
Kings on Saturday, Trailblazers on Sunday.
All righty. Well, it seems like a pretty lax schedule as far as, playing
Yeah,
the
this should
Kings
be a
back to back
3-0
and then
week.
Portland. Okay.
I know this is going to be your next question.
All right. Well, let's slide over to the Bucks and talk about obviously Giannis, what he did in the All-Star game. But let's talk about
Yes,
the
very
game
much so.
before the All-Star game.
Let's do that. So Milwaukee, they've been having a little trouble. It's been a lot of win, lose this last couple of weeks. They're only 2.5 games out of first, but they are in fifth place. So that's something to be concerned about if you're Milwaukee, because you're getting to the point in the season where you have to kind of make it happen.
Right.
But back to those games we had. So before the break, we played the Pacers. We won that game 128-119. Then we had the really clap from both of the MVP candidates. Really good game. Philadelphia won it by 3. But I think you can look at that game a lot of different ways. I choose whether we won or lost the game to look at and say two teams of guys that are going to be there at the end. 2 guys that are going to be MVP candidates. They both showed that when it comes down to it, they can get it done. But this game,
Definitely.
and I
It was
stress
an
luck.
extremely close game. It was an extremely close game, and they still don't have Harden playing yet. So that is somewhat concerning for Milwaukee that, you're playing a team that is obviously going to be a team that you will be facing in the playoffs or, if you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again, then this is possibly a team that you're going to have to look at it as playing in that series. And you got to wonder, like, are you going to be able to handle them? And then on top of that, they don't even have their person that they received in the trade playing just yet. So concerning for Milwaukee for sure. But let's talk about the All-Star game. We saw Giannis have a big night. No?
I don't think so. We did see Giannis have a big night. I really don't think it's that concerning. Middleton didn't have anywhere near the game he normally has, and I'm a firm believer in the points are the points. James, he may make some plays and make them a little bit better, but I really don't feel like he's going to come in and, my opinion on that. And as far as the All-Star game goes, Giannis steals, so he had a double-double. Another solid showing. You expect that from Giannis at this point in his career. He's going to put up at least a double-double per game. He's at that level at this point in his career.
Yes, definitely. And who do you guys play this week?
So this week we're going to play the Nets on Saturday, and then we're going to play the Hornets on Monday. So technically just one game because we'll be back on Monday, but the Nets and the Hornets are the next 2 games. So Milwaukee has a short week. They really need to win against the Nets. Honestly, I think coming out of the trade, the Nets are more dangerous. And then they did add Goran Dragic, so they have another guy that they can place in to get minutes at the point guard position, who still can give them quality minutes. So it's going to be tough. The Sixers games are going to be tough moving forward. A lot of games in the East are going to be tough moving forward.
Right.
So it's just a matter of going out and execute.
Definitely, this is going to be that grind time. We're going to hit that stretch before we get to
Just a reminder
the playoffs.
who are the champs. So until you beat the
You guys,
champs, you're not the champs. So 76ers
absolutely.
fans and all the other teams, you are good, but you're not the champ. The champs are in Milwaukee.
All right, cool. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
You can find me on Instagram, cool, and Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live interactive sports talk, play called Sports Talk. Of course, I'm here. I know we got a little lag, but we always make it work because we're professionals.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cool. And we will see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Jay Nelson covering the Houston Rockets.
Yo,
Hey, Jay, how are you?
can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Sorry
awesome.
about that.
On the fourth minute, I thought that was my phone, man. I was like, man, do I need to come back and come? But yeah, doing all right. How's everything?
Going really well. Did you like the All-Star game?
Yes, I did. You know what? Pretty much at this point, it's expected that the first three quarters they're going to play street ball. You're going to see a better dunk contest than what you saw Saturday night. I know that. You're going to see Lob City and everything going on, and then if it's within about 10 points in the fourth quarter, closer, they'll actually start playing ball, and the coach will actually start coaching. Right. But if it's a runaway, then they're going to keep playing street ball until the final whistle. But no, absolutely, I thought it was great. And the GOAT took the final shot and hit it and sent everybody home in his hometown in Cleveland. And it was great. I think it came full circle for him.
It was definitely storybook. He had already announced that, he'll be finishing his career his last year playing with Bronny. And, to go back to Cleveland and do that there. Definitely just kind of storybook for LeBron right now, and loved seeing it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about your Rockets. The game before the All-Star break.
The one before the All-Star break, we had a tough loss to the Clippers on the road. The Clippers, they're just that team, but it's like they're on the brink. They're on the brink of the play-in. You know what I mean? So theoretically, we were just cannon fodder at the end of the day, But of course, I still expect my boys to compete and everything. And we actually have them again coming up here on Sunday. We'll get to that on the future games. But the one before that was against the Suns. We had a tough 3-point loss to the defending Western Conference champions. All the starters were in double digits. Tate had 22 and 10. He had a double-double. Sengun had 19. Schroeder, first game with us, Dennis Schroeder, he put up 23 points and 9 assists. I like the move. I like Schroeder with us because I remember the numbers that he did for the Lakers and everything. So I actually think that that was a nice addition for us. Eric Gordon had 20, and then Jalen Green had 17. KMJ put up 11 off the bench. The bench really didn't get rocking that game. Maybe if it did, we might have the final. We might have had a victory, but Christian Wood did not play. Now, Christian Wood is our best player, and him not playing and us still losing to the Suns on the road by 3 is actually a good sign. I'm not a fan of moral victories, but I'll take it. It just shows what kind of future that we have. It was a great game. It was a really great game. It sucks for Chris Paul. He actually got notified that he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks with a thumb injury. Now, last I checked, he was getting a second opinion on that. But, as far as the Suns, I'm not worried about them. They're going to be fine and all. But yeah, for us to put up the fight that we did against a contender, I'm really proud. It's something to really look forward to, watching these youngsters grow and gel together and seeing Steven Silas, with control of his team and coaching them the way he wants to, and the chemistry just coming together. I just feel like whether it's going to be next season or toward the end of this season, like it's all going to come together. And Houston should be at minimum a play-in tournament team next season.
I completely agree. It takes time, especially when you're in the middle of a complete rebuild. So, absolutely agree. I feel the same way when I see the Spurs play the Suns really well. We're young, we're still growing. And when we compete with them, it does feel good. You might take the loss, but it does feel good. You know that, like, hey, I showed up and we played them. So talk to me about what happened in the dunk contest. We saw Jalen Green do the dunk contest. I say do the dunk contest. He barely did the dunk contest.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? You think it was just nerves?
I think the lights were a little too bright for him because we've all
Yeah.
seen him. And I hear the announcer saying like he's an in-game dunker, he's an in-game dunker, he's an in-game dunker. Theoretically, for the most part, all of them are in-game dunkers. That's how you pick them. You got to watch him in the game. You're not going out there and watch a street ball. I mean, I kind of get what he's saying, but yeah, Jalen Green is a highlight reel. I think that the lights were a little too bright, and I thought he had a terrible partner. Like he should have fired him off the second bounce. I would have fired him and brought 2 Chainz off the bench. Man, come here.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not gonna put it all on Green. That was the worst dunk competition I've ever seen. That's not hyperbole. I've watched the dunk contest all my life. 2022 was the worst I have ever seen. Only once did someone get a dunk on the first attempt, and that was Obi Toppin in the second round.
Right. Yeah. I will say that the first round, between the kid from Golden State and Obi Toppin's first dunks, they weren't super flashy, but they were difficult. And so I was impressed with those first 2 dunks. Those are the only 2 that I was like, oh, okay, those are pretty good. The other ones I was just like, dang.
It was weak, and I mean, like, I'm not taking nothing away from Obi Toppin. He won, congratulations. But honestly, he was the best of the worst.
He was. Now I enjoy him. I think he did the dunk contest last year too. And if people don't know, his dad was actually an AN1. He's Dunker's Delight's son. And then he has a brother coming out of Kentucky as well. So we will continue to see that name within the NBA. Let's talk about the upcoming game.
Okay, so we have 2 this week. So on Friday, we're at Orlando. Orlando's 13-47. It's a winnable game for us, but also a winnable game for them. But I expect a good game. And then on Sunday, it's a pretty short week. So Sunday, we got the Clippers again in Houston. So hopefully we make some adjustments and learn a few lessons from the last one because it was a pretty decisive. And hopefully it's a little more competitive this time. The one against Orlando, I feel good about. Again, it could go either way. But that one there should be a good game. I'm expecting about a 10-point victory against the Clippers. I would say either we lose by 7 or we still won.
Okay, and because it's a back-to-back too, I think y'all play them again Tuesday. So it's like Sunday and Tuesday you play the Clippers. So I could definitely see y'all taking one of those.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the one to bet on, like if you're a betting man, the one to bet on to take would be the one versus Orlando. Right.
Yeah, definitely agree. All right, Jay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking Rockets with us. Let everybody know where they can find you.
All right. You can find me on the NBA Carousel, hosted by Megan Price on Mondays. Also on Thursdays on the Sip Off, hosted by Megan Price, Phillips, and Anthony A.B. Brown. Either I'm heckling in the crowd or I'm on the panel. Also, co-host of the Gauntlet Show. That's myself, James Tatum, a.k.a. Pushing That Popeyes Pack, Dom DeRubis, and Tyler Ingram. 4 Horsemen. That's on Saturdays at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Shout out Craig Davis, Marshall Hill, my Unconventional Kings fam. And one more thing before we go. I don't know if you saw the versus T-Mac versus AI.
Yes.
It was pretty good. But after what we saw backstage at the All-Star game, can we please get an MJ versus Magic versus?
Oh, yes, please. He said, where are your shoes at? Mike was ready. Definitely. All right, Jay, thank you so much, and we will see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Chris, Couch Coach Pal, covering the Clippers. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, so talk to me about the game before the All-Star break.
Sorry, Jay, but no, it was obviously it was a 31 point win by my beloved Clippers. Great showing before the All-Star break. You look at Marcus Morris, he put in 27 to lead us. Luke Kennard off the bench, he had 25 points, 8 for 9 from 3. He did his thing. And Terrence Mann, another solid performance with 20 points. And what a way to close out the de facto half season. Even though it's only 20 games left, but
Right. Yes. Now, and we saw, since we've talked last, we saw that you guys acquired Norman Powell, but he since got injured. Talk to us about what happened with that injury real quick.
Yeah, so he got hurt in the Dallas game. I think probably been almost about a week and some change. So he has a fractured bone in his foot. So there, and with the Clippers, when I hear out indefinitely, that fears me. Like that language, especially you think about like Kawhi and you think about PG, and everybody's been out indefinitely. So there's no timetable for his return, which who knows the timetable at this point. But when I hear that language, it's like that's not good, especially coming from Clipperland.
Definitely agree. I will say personally that is what I did to my foot a few weeks ago, and it looks to be like a 6 to 8 weeks type thing.
Ooh.
So, I mean, everybody's different, and it depends on exactly what he did or where it was at. But personally, that's what they told me. So we're in a boot.
Yeah, it was a fractured medial sesamoid bone. You ever heard of that before? I was like, what? I feel like an orthopedic surgeon, like coming up and hearing that term. I'm like, that's interesting.
Right. And so we saw Kennard compete in the 3-point contest. He made it out of the first round, but unfortunately didn't make it out of the second round. But that first round of performance, I was just like, woo! He started hitting them back to back to back. I was like, ooh, cool hand, Luke.
Yeah, I was going to say I was like, this is going to be the favorite because I know Shaq was like, look out for Luke Kennard. I was like, okay, look out for. But then Karl Anthony Towns stole the show, ended up winning that 3-point competition. But yeah, Luke balled. Like Luke he hit those threes.
So what do you think about Kat's comment about being one of the greatest big men? He is the only big man to win the 3-point contest ever. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's legit. Like, I mean, we've really never seen somebody his size that can shoot the ball like that. Almost like a guard type of shooting range, which at this point in 2022, he can make that claim. I don't know how long that will stand because obviously the evolution of the game. But I think currently, I mean, I don't really think.
I feel like Joker might have something to say about that.
Dirk. I mean,
Dirk far as old,
old school. But yeah, Jokic. Yeah, he's in that conversation as well. But yeah, like. He got a shot. I mean, he's at the table. I put it that way. He's in that top. He's in the top tier of it.
Absolutely. And what were your thoughts on the actual All-Star game?
Oh man, it was awesome. I think the thing I love about it, I think more so the halftime was the thing that I loved. It's just one of those things where it's just like you look at. Because to me, it almost kind of reminded me of how like the Hall of Fame in the NFL, like how everybody just comes together. It was beautiful. It was guys that I grew up watching, and actually guys who are my age, Melo and Braun, being in that top 75. And it's funny to think like I remember the 50th anniversary, so it's like it was kind of like cool, like to think like God, like how it's evolved and this everything, and it's back in Cleveland, and the two Akron boys. Wardell
they did their thing.
So that was awesome. Just like it was just they get it right.
that Kawhi showed up because he was honored in it, right? And how is he in a crowd of 75 guys and still just look like so uncomfortable?
Yeah, but then right, but you know what's so crazy? And another thing, because they showed him in a tunnel like with MJ, and he had the greatest smile on earth. And I'm like,
Well,
I
that's
tell
good.
MJ can do that to anybody. Like his aura
Right.
alone can even make Kawhi have a Kool-Aid smile. So
I love that. I love that. And Jordan was cutting up, having a good time the whole week.
yeah,
Is what it looked like to me.
yes.
Okay, so let's talk about your upcoming game real quick. What do you guys have going on this week?
So Friday we have a road game against the Clippers. I mean the Lakers. I'm sorry, the Lakers. We got a road game, and then we head to Houston. Then he's on Sunday, so we got two road games. Well, two road games. We'll put it that way. On the schedule's road games.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you anticipate much of a battle with the Lakers, or do you think they've got too many woes going on?
It's weird. Like I think that's going to be somewhat of a toss up because it's kind of weird just like coming off that break, like how, what's going to happen. Like it's going to be a situation where they just going to just continue those first half woes, or they kind of get together. Maybe they just needed a rest a few days to kind of get away from the situation. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out and just how they will be down the run, because these games could be pivotal, because these games could be the difference between being in the play-in or Cancun on 3 at the end of April. So yeah, these are pivotal games, especially with the Lakers, and so hey, I think we can sweep them. I think we can sweep this weekend. I definitely think for sure. Yeah.
Well, best of luck on your games, and let everybody know where they can find you.
All right. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live. Check out my podcast, Couch Coach Live. Anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. We're there. Yep.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris. We will see you back when the next time you're available.
All right.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Detroit Drum covering the Pistons.
Good evening, beautiful.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the game before the AllStar break.
Oh, the triumphant 1-point victory over the Boston Celtics, snapping.
A dub is a dub.
That is, and I kind of coincidentally, because I wasn't like, oh, I got to watch this game, but I happened to watch it tip off to buzzer, and that was the best game I've seen us play all year, and not just because we beat a team on a 9-win streak and ended our 8-game losing streak. In addition to that, they won 8 in a row and then 11 out of 13. We're hot, like over 50% from deep. Like Cade had 28 and 6. Sadiq Bey had 20, 11 and 6. Jeremy Grant, that was probably the most efficient 24 points I've ever seen him score. Like Kelly Olynyk had 15. Bagley was solid in his debut. No complaints. Great way to go into the break and proof of what this team's capable of.
And Olynyk, was this his first game back, or has he been back for a couple weeks?
Like his second or third game back, I believe.
Okay.
But he was money.
And what was his injury? Oh, I love Kelly. I think he was very when he was with Houston last year, he's putting up numbers.
Yeah, he had a career year in Houston last year, and I wouldn't have said it at the time because I liked Mason Plumlee, but when we got Olynyk, we talked about it, and I was like, But other than being hurt, he's been good all year. It's just our record doesn't reflect that, and that's okay.
It is okay. So we saw your rookie put on a show over there on AllStar Weekend.
Oh, you sure did. Led Team Barry to 2 wins. They took home the trophy for the Rising Stars tournament, and Cade was the MVP. So clearly no complaints there whatsoever. I'm just glad that he's back and he's healthy and he was able to participate and showcase himself. And then he won the MVP. So I think we know who the odds-on favorite for Rookie of the Year is now. Maybe not. It's a good race.
I'm not ready to go there yet, because did you see how Mobley did in the skills competition with Team Cavs? Like, they did pretty well.
Yes, Mobley is definitely the other threat. And I mean, honestly, if Mobley won Rookie of the Year, wouldn't be upset at all. Like I've always been iffy on the Cavs, but I kind of like them this year as much
do
as I
too.
can for a conference rival. The Cavs are what the Celtics wish they were.
I completely agree with that statement. Probably never agreed with anything else you've ever said that much. All right, so let's talk about what did you think about the All-Star game itself?
I mean, here's my pretty much my main take, and this is based upon what I saw. It kind of ties into the 3-point competition, and we talked about this before as well. Why no Steph in the 3-point competition?
Right.
Was it really any? Because what I saw was referees and whistles and quarters and Steph in the 3-point competition with basically himself.
Yeah, I mean, he put on an amazing performance, and I understand why there is some apprehension about doing the dunk contest because I mean, we saw in that first dunk, Cole Anthony hurt his hand,
Right.
and so this is what they're concerned about. I mean, all you do is take home a trophy, a midseason trophy for doing a trick dunk. It's not necessarily what you want to risk getting hurt for when you're so
100%.
close to the playoffs.
100%.
You know, I heard somebody else say that, you know, maybe we get the shoe companies involved and give out a cash prize. And I think that's something, especially when you have like these hotshot rookies coming in or people that are still on their rookie deals. $1 million is going to make a huge difference on what they make that year.
Right. And with Steph being, I mean, obviously he's an all-star, he's going to play. But with him not being in the 3-point contest, like, I mean, I'm not going to say I love Cat because I don't. He's softer than baby stuff. But to be perfectly honest, like as great of a shooter as he is, it's not really that good of a look for the league for a big man to win the 3-point competition. Not to mention that I don't like the tweaks they did to the rules, like a whole rack of money balls. That's dumb. I mean, if you're even an above average 3-point shooter in the league, say 30, 32, 33% or better, you better hit 5 in a row from your spot, and then those other 2 on the sides, like clearly they do enough of that in the All-Star game, pulling up from the logo, pulling up from half court.
Right, definitely agree.
The All-Star game has almost gone the way, or maybe should go the way of the Dodo and the Pro Bowl. Like, I don't think it's necessary for them to even play the game anymore, unless, and we've talked about this before, unless they want to get a lot more serious about the competition and make it worth something, like
right. I think that
home court advantage in the finals. And go back to East-West for Christ's sake.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Team
Go
Giannis. No, none of that. And the uniforms
know
were awful too.
It served its purpose at the time because the East wasn't competitive for almost a decade. So it served its purpose at the time going to the format that they're at now, but it's no longer needed. Like, just go back to East versus West. We all miss it. But let's talk about the games you have this week. Let's see. You got speaking of the Cavs, you got them on Thursday.
Yes. The Cavs have actually, by and large, they've had our number for multiple seasons in a row. We play them several times. I don't think we have a winning record. I mean, I know overall we don't have a winning record against them whatsoever for like about 5 years running, and none of those individual years either. Like I said before, the Cavs are what the Celtics wish they were. Cavs are 35-23 on a 2-game win streak, and I expect them to add a win to that, unless we just go on some sort of crazy run. But we can't beat the Cavs. They're good. We're not. Well, clearly, as we saw last Thursday, when we put our minds and our, you know, when the effort is there, I mean, it's the NBA. Anyone can beat anyone on any given night, but we're not beating the Cavs.
But speaking of that win that you guys had, you play the Celtics again, and you will be playing them at home this time on Saturday.
Oh yeah, we're gonna lose by 25. Like, mark my words.
On Sunday,
I'm going to look at the line, and if the line is anything more, or I should say less than 15, I'm betting against my own team for some free money.
I mean, if you know, it's not always about betting for your team if you're trying to make the money. So, well, good luck on your games this week, and let everybody know where they can find you and follow you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Such a list. I had to write it down. Twitter, as you can see on the screen, @Detroit_Dom. 1. Monday nights with you and the rest of our cohorts at 8 p.m. on the NBA Carousel, Facebook and YouTube. Thursdays, your other show with our other cohorts. I can't even talk. Jahan 75% Phillips and Anthony A.B. Brown. That's the sip-off. Thursdays, 8:15. Prior to that, Thursdays at 7, Kneecap Voiding with Jeremy B. on YouTube. Saturday nights with the Horsemen, 8 p.m., 7 p.m., YouTube and Facebook. And coming in a few Sunday nights, a new show hosted by myself, the Whiz Kid Will Vogel, Jacob Christner, and my fellow horseman Jay Nelson. Old School Hoops, 2000 and back. Should be a good time.
Very excited for that. I will definitely be watching. Well, and congratulations on your new show, and we will see you back next week. Thanks, Dom.
Sideline Sports, we're everywhere.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep, and it's actually his first time on the show. We have Joseph Jenkins covering the Washington Wizards. Hey, Joseph.
Hey, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Happy to be on. Been waiting a long time coming, but I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. So glad to have you on. Let's talk about the first game before the AllStar break.
So that was a win against the Brooklyn Nets. Granted, it was a Brooklyn Nets team that has been undermanned. What's happening with the Wizards now is they're definitely in a big culture change more so. They got rid of some people that had been kind of like detriments to the locker room, and some of them were kind of not detriments, but they were looked at as a detriment, talking about Spencer Dinwiddie. But this team is starting to figure out how to play together with each other because it's not selfish basketball. You know, our best player, Kyle Kuzma, really came in the clutch, needing to do whatever is necessary to win whatever games we need. Like, he only had 5 points against the Nets, but we beat them 117-103. But he had picked the game because he had 7 rebounds. He had over 5 or 6 assists. It's a lot more team basketball. And, you know, I think the Wizards are realizing that they can find mismatches by running the offense through Kyle Kuzma. So it was a good win to beat the Nets because they had to have something. They had to have something. You know, they weren't having much going. They've been, ever since, you know, they were active in a trade deadline with acquiring Kristaps and getting rid of like Aaron Holiday and Montrezl Harrell. But it's been up and down. It was 2-2 since the trade. Lost to the Kings, lost to the Pacers, and then it beat the Nets and the Pistons.
And how do you feel about picking up Porzingis and losing Montrez? Because I felt like Montrez was playing pretty well for you guys, but that doesn't necessarily mean, you're not on the trade block because you bring more trade value when you play well.
I think Montrez was kind of more of an illusion as opposed to being more of an asset to the team. You know, I had made very active in Wizards Nation, and I've actually had been kind of questioning Montrezl Harrell for like the last month and a half before he was actually traded, because he really is good at certain spurts. And one thing I've noticed about him was whenever we're going good or we're keeping the game competitive or so, he's in it. He's all the way in. His energy is up because he's an energy type of guy. But when we're down by like 15, 20 and we're trying to make comebacks, he's not really there. And defensively, he is a liability that was something that the Wizards can't afford, especially when we don't really have that big time down low post presence, which is what we thought he was as he showed it early in the year. As far as Kristaps, I'm hoping for the best for him. I believe that if he is healthy and he's able to maintain, it does help the team because he can shoot the basketball from the deep three. He can give spacing better so that way, you know, we're a big pick and roll type team and we're a huge team that relies on dribbling and attacking the basket, because when we try to attack the basket, we get our low post game going. The shooters around like Corey Kispert or Denny Adivia, who's getting better, and Rui Hachimura, who's even gotten better in 3 and makes the game a little bit better. So I understand having him. The health history is seriously a concern. And if the Wizards are really trying to make big time plans for the future, they got to know who's secure. Like, they got to know who they can count on. We know you can count on Kuzma. I'm just not sure we can count on Kristaps Porzingis. I think if he's healthy, be a great addition. I just don't know how long he can stay healthy.
I mean, agreed. There's no way to predict that, and his injury history has been pretty brutal. So, but he has had a great season, a season where he stepped up for the Mavs, and has been relatively majority healthy this season. So, that's an accomplishment for him. I know he's gone through a couple of rough seasons, so hopefully that works out for you guys and him over there. So I know you guys didn't have an all-star in there. Now, had Bradley Beal been healthy, I definitely think he would have been there. No, you don't think so?
No, I don't think Bradley would have been in there because number one, the record speaks for itself, and a lot of times guys don't get in because of the record. And number two, watching Bradley this year, he has definitely not been the Bradley we have seen over the course of the last couple seasons. I have been very disappointed in some of the performances that Bradley has given. He's really up and down. There are some times where you're just like, you know what? That's all-star Bradley. Keep that up, and we got it going. Right. And then it turns around at other times, and it's just like, what are you doing? Definitely a 20 guy, but yeah.
Okay, so let's slide over to the upcoming games, especially because your first game back, you got to play my Spurs.
I'll be there on Friday. Me and RJ Curry, big time Spurs fan as well. We're going to the game. Looking forward to it. Is Kristaps going to be starting? So we're going to really see what this team is going to try to do with Kristaps. So I'm looking forward to it. Last time you guys were down by 16, came back and won by 14. We can't let that happen this time. Period.
Absolutely. I do kind of view us as very similar tiered teams. We have some promise on both of them, but not a whole lot of veteran leadership at the moment. But either team can get hot. Either team can get cold. So I expect it to be a really good game. Following that up, you guys turn around and play the Cavaliers in Cleveland. Yeah, in Cleveland. So that's going to be tough. They're coming off of a great performance. Some of their players having great performances in the AllStar break. And then before that, they're pretty hot too. So what thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win that game because more so the simple fact of the matter is the Wizards' biggest problem is closing out on shooters, let alone, and also handling guards. And with Darius Garland coming into the thing and Karis LeVert coming into it, and then you got Kevin Love on the perimeter and Isaac Okoro, with Jarrett Allen in the presence of Evan Mobley down low, you're going to have to commit to them. But what that means is if they're going to kick out, the Wizards have to be on it, and I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be ready for that one because we lost to the Pacers because Halliburton went off and his buddy Buddy Hield went off. We lost to the Kings. De'Aaron Fox went off and Harrison Barnes went off. Like the closeout defensively is the biggest issue for the Wizards, and the Cavaliers have everything that they can do to make it too hard for us to handle. So I'm not sure we're going to win that game. I think we can beat you guys, but I can see us losing. But that game, definitely not.
All right. Well, best of luck to your games, Joseph, and let everybody know where they can find you. And thank you so much for coming on.
Well, I am happy to be here. I'm looking forward to the first of many. 2022 is a year of hopefully, getting on most of these shows like the NBA Carousel. Definitely looking forward to getting on the Sip Off more consistently, as well as the Gauntlet. Everybody's like great family to me, so I'm looking out. You can find me there. My name on Facebook is JJ Jenkins. My Instagram is JoeJenkins07. That's pretty much where you can find me anytime or anywhere on these shows or active in the comments. I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph, and we will see you next week.
I will see you next week.
All right, guys, we're going to slide over to our next representative. We have James Tatum covering the 76ers. What's up?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
How's your week going?
It's going pretty good. I had the day off today, so decided I would just drop a free promo. We're dropping free promos for the Sip Off for other shows, so we might be charging some money for it soon, but for right now it's free, so take advantage of the deals while you got them.
Absolutely. We really appreciate the free promos. Okay, so let's talk about the game before the All-Star break and how that game went.
Which one? Against the Celtics or the Bucks?
Let's see here. The Bulls.
The Bulls. So we played the Bulls. I'm not sure when we played the Bulls, but everything kind of went as expected. The Bulls can't really match up with Embiid, so they're having a lot of issues there. But yeah.
I don't know why my phone was showing that. I'm sorry, James. Let's talk about. Let's not talk about the Celtics game.
Yeah, I think we're playing. I think we're getting ready to play the Bulls. I don't think we played them last week.
Yeah, I don't know why my phone was showing that like that.
Yeah.
And then you guys played the Celtics, and that was a rough loss.
We got destroyed.
But you played, yeah, definitely. But you did play the Cavaliers right before that, and that score was 103-93. Let's talk a little bit about that game, since y'all were able to play a team that is right there in the rankings with you, and almost the same record.
Yeah, the Cavaliers are a great young basketball team. You saw Darius Garland in the All-Star game this year. Jared Allen was in the skills competition. He also got in as a reserve because some guys weren't able to make it. They got a really good team, so it was a really good win for us. Joel had a 40-point triple-double. He joined Wilt Chamberlain as one of the only 76ers to ever have a certain amount of 40-point triple-doubles for his career. So anytime you're with Wilt Chamberlain being spoken in the same breath with a player like that, it's really good stuff. So, Joel continues to perform night in and night out, which is what we need from him if we want to really try to compete for a championship.
Absolutely. And then we saw your guys show out in the All-Star game last night. What did you think about that?
Well, if it wasn't for Steph Curry, I think Joel would have won the All-Star game MVP. He led Kevin Durant's team in scoring. So, he put on a show and really showed what he's capable of doing. But you got to really give it up to Steph at the end of the day. I can't remember how many threes he hit, but it was some ridiculous number. I think he broke the record by halftime. Or he set a new record for threes made it a half in the All-Star game. So not really much you could do there, but definitely proud of Joel the season he's having so far, and what he did in the All-Star game. He kind of showed he deserved to be there, and he's one of the best players in the league.
Are you for going back to the East versus West?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I think it's kind of run its course with Team LeBron, Team Kevin every year. I think it was a cool thing to kind of do something different for a couple of years, but it's kind of gotten watered down. And LeBron with his basketball IQ, the guy acts like he's a GM. He always drafts the best team. That's why he's undefeated since he's been doing this for the last 5 years. So I feel like the talent level in both conferences, you can't really say that the West has way more stars in the East, or the East has more than the West. I think it's pretty even there. So, I mean, if they went back to East and West, I think it would be very interesting to see that happen. And I think it would be just as competitive, if not a little more.
Absolutely agree. So your upcoming game, you guys play the Timberwolves on Friday, and then you play the Knicks on Sunday, or you have a back-to-back with the Knicks actually Sunday and Wednesday. So what are your thoughts? What game do you think is going to be the toughest game? And what do you got to do in order to win that game?
Well, I think that we've had a lot of success against the Knicks over the years, and the Knicks have kind of been struggling a little bit this year. So I think that starting with that Timberwolves game, that's when we're going to first see James Harden play. It's already been confirmed by Daryl Morey. James is going to start getting into the lineup, so we're going to see how this team looks with him there. So definitely think it's going to take more pressure off of guys like Tobias Harris, who can kind of slide to being a third option. But I think that we'll be able to handle business. But later on in the schedule, we're going to start having some tougher teams. I think that we play the Cavs, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Nets all 4 in a row in early March. So getting ready to see what the team's made of, trying to make a push in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be very competitive, but I do think that as long as Joel Embiid stays healthy, that we got a chance with anybody in the league.
Absolutely. And even though you guys are y'all fourth or y'all fifth?
I think we're fifth currently, but the gap between the fifth place team and the first place team, everyone's right on top of each other right now. It's
right.
very,
Yeah.
very
So I mean, you could go on a win streak and be number one easily.
Sure.
So best of luck on your games coming up, and let everybody know where they can find you.
Absolutely, guys. You guys can see me here covering the Sixers on Monday nights. Occasionally, you guys can see me over on the Sip Off, dropping free promos during the week. So you guys can see me there Thursdays, 8:15. Bring your favorite drink. Bring the best basketball takes that you have as well. And then, of course, I am the host of The Gauntlet. And, shout out to Tyler, shout out to Dom and Jay also, who are the four horsemen of that show. And they all make it work really well. So you guys can see us there. We're breaking down everything that's happened in the NFL, talking about our favorite past moments since the offseason. We got to spice things up a little bit. Shout out Tyler Ingram. Shout out Mike Booth. Shout out Cliff Betts. Shout out Mafe Kefu. Shout out the Conventional Kings fam. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
And the Gauntlet is 7 Eastern
7
on
Eastern.
Saturdays? Awesome. And you can
Yes.
find that on YouTube and Sideline Sports. All right. Thanks, James. We'll see you next week. We're going to slide over to our last representative. We have Jacob Christman covering the Kings. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, how do you like my new one-day set over here? It's like inside of a car on a rainy night. Kind of go for a cheap old film noir look.
Well, I tell you what, the lighting is great. We can see it all.
Oh, all of me, nothing else. That's what failed.
Love it.
What did you think of that horrible All-Star game?
I liked the All-Star game. I did not like the dunk contest.
Obviously, that dunk contest. Did you see Kareem leave?
Yes, I saw Kareem leave. That's how, it's bad when he's like, he can't handle it. So definitely.
He was going home. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I said he was going home to write about 6 more books.
Yeah, definitely. I like I said earlier, I think they got to do something to revamp the dunk contest and give some incentives for people to compete. I know that injury can be something that, can happen within the dunk contest, and you don't want to risk that at this time in the season. So I don't know what they need to do to revamp the dunk contest, but they need to do something.
Well, here's the thing I just have to say. You used to have you had Jordan versus Nick, but back in the time I grew up watching, you know what I mean? You used to have the types. Why not, if you are going to have something like this, why not have an exhibition between stars if you don't want them in the contest? Offer 5-10 million, whatever, just something. I don't have an instant thing right now, an instant solution right now, but something along the lines of an exhibition to be able to get them. It's like you can have the regular dunk contest and then you can have the stars. 2 stars that you can choose, pay them extra, whatever. Got to do something.
Mm-hmm. I like that too. Like you could have the regular dunk contest, have the up and comers do that, and then have a battle between the 2 stars. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. But I was a fan of the All-Star game. You weren't a fan of the All-Star game?
When it comes to a game that has no defense, you could just watch an NBA game for that. But any game with Mike D'Antoni. But still, it's
right.
But the thing about it is, I give all the credit in the world to Steph Curry for 16 threes. Then to see the threes were all from like mid-court. The guy's ridiculous. He is the greatest shooter of all time. So he is the greatest shooter of all time. But it's like there was people asking who would win a 3-point contest between Bird and Steph Curry. And this is the way I said it. Steph Curry, if he's hot, it's over. But if it's close, Bird is the killer. So
because he's so consistent.
Yeah, well, he's just killer in the clutch. Just an absolute clutch. So as I said, it's over if Steph gets hot. So it's like, and you never know when they get hot. So that's the whole deal. But either way, though, it's kind of fun for a little debate.
Absolutely. And hopefully this is the momentum that Steph needs to kind of get out of his shooting lull. As Steve said at the beginning of the show, maybe this will kind of revamp his shooting. Every great shooter goes through bad times. And so we know he's had a rough month, but obviously 16 threes, I think he's fine.
Oh, give me a break. Larry Bird in 1982 had an 0 for 9 0-point game. It happens. That's probably one of the greatest shooter of all time. How many did 3 for 21 games did Jordan have? Quite a few, actually. It's like, you just have off nights sometimes.
Absolutely. And so what do you think they can do to make the All-Star game more competitive? Like in the WNBA, they have what's called the Commissioner's Cup. And so for the first half of the season, the number 1 seed in the East and the number 1 seed in the West, so whoever has the best record, they play 1 game, and then there's a $500,000 prize.
I would go for that. And I usually don't say the WNBA has some of the every great idea in the world, but I'd go for something like that because there needs.
It makes it more competitive.
Yeah, it's like really, in all truth, I want to see. It's not against the NBA itself. It's just the players. It's like you don't know what to do in a situation like this. And just being very honest, because players in the times when I was, and I'm just saying when I was growing up, in the Paleozoic era, when I was growing up in those times, they were playing hard defense and they hated each other. And there was competition.
Mhm.
There was throwing fists. There was doing Juwan Howards. There was doing all that kind of stuff. There was that type of thing that was doing it. It was all blood, and but it's like at the same time you're getting a beer at the end. Right now they are trading jerseys at the end, and they all came up in the AAU system. So I don't know what you could really do to get them more competitive against each other when they do love each other. It's a little bit of a different day.
I agree with that. I hadn't thought about, the fact that they did come up through AAU together. They've been playing together all their whole careers. So yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Well, let's slide over to the Kings. You guys are going to be playing the Nuggets on Thursday, and then the Nuggets again on Saturday, and then OKC on Monday. Obviously, OKC is going to be the more winnable game out of that. But what do you think needs to happen in order for you guys to be competitive with the Nuggets?
Well, one of the biggest issues was, remember when they first brought Dama in there, when they first brought them, they get a win or two. And then they get slapped around by the Nets and the Bulls. So so basically playing the real team, smack, gone. And it's like, and see, in the end, to me, really, I'm looking at the thing, they're number 10, number 11, and 13 right now. They're basically 3.5 out of the 10th spot. It's really probably time with being behind everybody else, and they would have to win out to be able to get to the 10th spot. It's probably time to just kind of play it out and see it, even because they're behind everybody, including win and loss with all this. So it's like, here's the thing though. It's like the Nuggets both games just really depends on Jokic's playing. But at the same time, you really can't say anything's winnable right now. And you can't say anything's losable right now. Because even if they get smacked around by the Nets and the Bulls, they also catch those little hot streaks you can never tell. And in all true honesty, I think Gentry's doing a hell of a time. He's doing a hell of a job this year with the team. I do. It's like he's a teacher. I'm going to look at him as a teacher. I don't want him trying to get a team, in truth, I don't want him getting a team that is going to try to go for a title. That's going to be a contender. Not really, but I like him. I like him as an assistant. I like him as a teacher. So I think he's gotten them through a good season, and they're going through a tough time, and you're teaching a good team. So, it's like, I would like to see a better coach for the time, but still, it's like, I really overall, I think there's one winnable game in there, and it could possibly be the Nuggets at home. I don't know about KC, I just don't.
You don't know what you're going to get from them. Very similar to the Kings. They have some games when their shooting looks excellent, when SGA is on fire and Lou Dort gets on fire, and even their rookie is very good.
Also the biggest thing about it is the fact that they're moving the ball better. They're moving the ball better. The problem is they still don't have defense. They just don't. And
agreed.
And it's just like any other team. They were showing. I was just looking at this one article. They're talking about different teams, and almost like different teams that Mike D'Antoni could be on. And it's like, why? Especially when about 4 of the 5 of the teams that they talk about already don't have any defense, and they're putting a guy with no defense.
Right.
So it's like, why are we even talking about that in the first place? So it's like, in the end, the Kings need defense. That is the first step. I would rather see the old 2000 to 2004 type of thing and them try to win 84 to 83, because they're just not going to catch up to anybody on the offense enough to be able to make up for the bad defense.
Agreed. All right, Jacob, I know you got some news for us. Let us know what's going on in your world and where everybody else can find you.
Well, I will save the best for last on that. I am here on Monday nights. Over at the Carousel. We have as you brought up from Dom, we have a new show, Old School Basketball, which is a temporary name. We're going to see what we can find. And it's talking about 2000 and behind. We're going to have that starting March 6th. We have that game. all that kind of stuff. And the big news, and I kind of kept it secret from all but one other person. The Pundits coming on really soon. Date to be announced. But the co-host and the producer is going to be Jennifer Mathers-Lewis.
Oh, very exciting! She is also one of our producers on here. So
yeah,
congratulations to both of you.
So you see, it's like if anybody hears the Jim Cornette Experience and Jim Cornette Show, any of those other things. If anybody ever listened to him about wrestling, he has a guy named Brian Last that's basically his producer and basically has conversation. We're going to have the Pundit be kind of that type of scenario.
Cool.
Where we're going to have the topics, but we're just going to kind of have conversation and talk and go to kind of get a flow out of it.
Very awesome. I am looking forward to both of your new shows coming out. Congratulations, and we will see you back the next time you're available.
Hey, no problem. You take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Just a quick reminder that the NBA Carousel is a Sideline Sports Network production, proudly sponsored by Score, No Score app, Manscaped, and then make sure you check out the Inscriber online magazine, where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. Thanks for watching, guys.